Hello everyone, Rear Mod Reviews here. I know it's been a while since I made a video. Let's just say my job is very deeply intertwined with FIFA, so I had a lot of overtime thrown at me during this whole World Cup thing, but I finally managed to get a little bit of downtime since there was like a week off of matches before the final kicks off next week, so I of course decided to use that time to record some videos here. So, without further ado, let's go ahead and get into it. Now, this first one here is going to be Premium Bandai. The second is from the Gundam store. However, I'm going to definitely talk you guys' ears off again for the second one. So before I do that, let's go ahead and rip this thing open so you can see what we have. And that is going to be the expansion set for the Red Gundam. So I actually already unboxed and built the Red Gundam. So after I finish my current project, which I should have finished by now, but again, work, I'm going to go ahead and build this. I'm going to do the Red Gundam first. I'm going to review that. Then I'll go ahead and review this. Depending on if I manage to build that thing today, and of course, then build this thing shortly after, I'll try to see if I get a review up for the Red Gundam next week. If not next week, definitely sometime after the 19th, because that's when, again, the final is over. And then I'm going to go ahead and take a vacation, because after all the blood, sweat, and tears I put into my job this month, yeah, I could definitely use another vacation. But anywho, I said I was supposed to yap at the second one, not this one. But this thing comes with a lot of cool effects that really kind of rounds out the Red Gundam, which I'll admit, even though it does come with a decent bit of stuff, especially for a high grade, I still do feel like it's lacking a little bit. So this is like, I forget whether this is like a beam saber or a beam rifle. If I'm pretty sure it's a beam saber effect. You see it up here. I don't remember what it did with that beam saber though. I'm like kind of blanking on what happened. What was it? It like slashed the giant white Gundam or whatever at the end of it. There was a lot going on with that final episode of G Clux, I'm not gonna lie. But we of course have a Federation Hyper Bazooka here. And then a Xeon's I guess you could say that's a Zaku bazooka there. And then 4 extra bits for the Red Gundam, because it only comes with 2. And then of course we have some effects here that allowed you to put the bits on a stand, because the Red Gundam did not come with any kind of stand, just a port for you to put one in or whatever. So very cool. Looks like it also has extra hands. I can't say what the heck there's for. It looks like outstretched hands or something. Yeah, you can see it right here for holding up the bazooka. I don't know what the other one is. Maybe it's for both sides. No, I think it's a second trigger finger hand, so you can hold both bazookas. I think that's what that is. But moving on, we of course have the contents for it there. It even says it. Yeah, just hand parts, set, effect parts, all that. Hyper bazooka, Zaku bazooka. So that's usually how a lot of the expansion sets go. They actually kind of show what's in it and whatnot, whereas normal kits don't. They just show the monochromatic stuff on the side, and that's about it. This, of course, 2026 is new. So we're going to go ahead and roll this out of the way. Hold on. And now we're going to go ahead and look inside. So, taking the top off, we have very vibrant pink effects. Matches the ones you see for the beam sabers on the Red Gundam. Just love the way this pink looks. It looks so fluorescent. It just really pops. I'm not sure what the second pink effect is for, but I guess we'll find out in a moment when I look at the manual. Have, of course, the parts for the bits. So that's going to be very familiar for me since I've built it, and it'll be, of course, familiar for anyone who's built the Red Gundam. Some extra stickers. I'm pretty sure those are for the bits. If I'm not mistaken, those have some red on it. I could be wrong. So of course, these are parts for the bazooka. If I didn't know anything, I'd say that was for the backpack, but I get a feeling that's for the bazooka. Looks very similar to the backpack though. Have, of course, the stand there for the bits. Looks like this is basically incomplete set for the action base. What is this, a 6? Yep, 6. Looks like it might have a little bit extra stuff here, but I could be wrong. No, I don't think it's anything extra. Just enough for the stand for the bits. So we're gonna go ahead and throw that over. Something came out. Looks like just a piece of plastic or runner or whatever from the stand, so I'm not gonna stress over that. I'm just gonna throw this to the side for now, so we just get into the menu. So, although this is the P Bandai Special, the very cheap looking menu, I do appreciate the fact that it's a little more dolled up than the standard menus are, even though it's like just in black and white, no colors. So that's pretty cool. There's a lot of stuff here left over that you do not use. This is for the C runner. I'm pretty sure this is the C. So I might have been right when I said this looks like this is for the backpack. So, oh yeah, and there's some extra parts to make a second beam rifle here too. If it's complete enough, you might actually be able to. There's like extra hands in there too, or you know what this is? Nah, I think what it is this used some stuff from if not the white Gundam, then the whatchamacallit, the '01 Gundam. That one came with a bazooka, so this might have some parts from that it might have used. I'm pretty sure the one Gundam came out before this expansion set. But they actually kind of didn't even need to tell you how to build the base. They should just let you do it from the red Gundams, but it's still pretty cool nonetheless that they just put it in here so you don't have to break out another menu just to build extra bits. It's of course letting you know that the pieces you use to put the bits on the shoulder, just the red Gundam itself, are sold separately, so don't expect to find those in here. But rest assured, you're going to have what you need to put all these extra bits onto the Gundam itself. Oh, okay. I was wondering what that little triangle thing was. Okay, it's so you can bundle them all together and put 3 on each shoulder there. That's pretty cool. And then this extra part here is to put in there for the stand, of course, so you can hang that up on these ones, because I think the way the number one wants you to put it on is like a bit different or whatever. I can't describe it, but of course, just have the process of building the bazooka here, nothing to write home about. Of course, the extra hands there, so that's the outstretched hand. Yep, it looks like I was right. I think that is another trigger fit. Oh, no, I was wrong. Actually, this is a unique effect part, so you can hold the beam saber at that bit of an off angle. Okay, they want you to have that extra pink effect part is to go over the beam saber, so it's a bit more rounded at the end there. Okay, I see what it is. Looks like it does have an extra beam saber here, though. I guess it just wants you to do a 2-piece to really get a bit more rounded out and put it in there. But very interesting. I'm going to assume it doesn't have an extra beam saber. They want you to use the one from the Red Gundam itself. But that is going to do it for this one. So let me go ahead and package all this stuff together. Pull out our last kits. And like I said, I'm about to yap, so get ready for that. For our last kit, I actually have to hold this box together, because if I don't, it's going to pop out. You're going to see what it is. But this is, drum roll please, the Master Grade Verka Narrative Gundam. So, before I get into it, I want to first point out, this came out 2024. As of recording this video, it is 2026. So, I'm pissed. You want to know why I'm pissed? I pre-ordered this thing when it was first announced, 2024. I made the mistake of packaging it together with something that came off of back order, which was the Vignagina 2 from the RE100 line. Now, when I pre-ordered this thing and I got the Vignagina, there was an option to have them come together or have what was currently in stock, which again was the Vignagina, come first and this come later. I made the mistake of not wanting to spend the extra money to have them shipped separately, because I'm like, it's okay, I can wait. And what happens is, this thing was so popular, it was on back order for literally the whole year. And then finally, when this thing got off the back order, my Vignagina got sold to someone else, basically. And so what happened was, I had to wait like a year or whatever for them to get the Vignagina 2 back in stock or whatever. I messaged USA Gundam Store, told them, hey, what's going on with my order? You know, and they said, oh, don't worry, it'll be back in stock soon, and we'll send it to you. Just hang on. I'm like, okay, it's been over a year now, but sure thing. You know, again, I got plenty of kits here, as you can see, a couple stacks here. Yeah, a lot there. I can wait. It's no big deal. But honestly, after the knowledge that I pre-ordered this thing and it took 2 years to come out, it's just like very frustrating, because you want to know why we're looking at just the narrative Gundam here. There's not anything else in here. I can confirm that now. what happened was they ended up emailing me and telling me, they don't know what's going on with the Vig Nagina I ordered. They're not sure when it'll come back in stock. So they said, you know what, we're just going to send you the Narrative Gundam now. And then whenever the Vig Nagina 2 comes back in stock, you could just, buy that one. They, of course, refunded me for the Vig Nagina, but honestly, I should have emailed them back and told them, how frustrated I was that it took them 2 years just to do this. Almost sore. That's how upset I am. But regardless, I finally have this thing. I actually have the expansion set to turn this into the B packs too, by the way. I guess I got to build that thing too around the time I build this thing. This box is actually pretty little. It's not too big, so I imagine this won't be too big of a project. And just because of the fact I would have been built this thing, I'll even show you guys over here. You see that guy? Came out around the same time. He came no problem. I guess he wasn't as popular. So that's the Snandrew Stein has been built. I very much enjoyed that thing. Actually, I can't wait to review that for you guys. Because spoiler, I really like it. But yeah. So after I build the Red Gundam, I'm going to definitely probably have to build this thing just out of principle that I should have built this thing years ago. Along the expansion pack. So ran over. Let's see if we could do this in like 4 minutes. I doubt it after that long rant. But of course, we're just explaining the whole Verkov thing and all that, how it's also, they're talking about how this is a C-Pax. I think I might have called this thing A-Pax. So the coolest thing about the Master Grade version is the fact that, of course, the Core Fighter is going to be able to transform. I really like the Core Fighter of this thing. It looks very cool. It's like a bit more reminiscent of the OG Core Fighter with its color and all that. But it just looks very cool the way it like transforms and stuff. So this, of course, is all the stuff that it comes with. The modified Jagan beam rifle, the shield, and all that. And what's cool about the Narrative Gundam, I didn't even know, is that apparently this was like the prototype for the new Gundam. Which is funny because the mass-produced new Gundam, which I'll go ahead and say now is what I'm currently working on, I should have built already. That thing was basically also the prototype of the new Gundam, as well as a mass-produced version of it at the same time. Which is why, if you look at the mass-produced new Gundam, it's even more equipped than the new Gundam itself. But through trial and error, eventually they got the new Gundam. I believe that a narrative was a test bed for the cycle frame, and then the mass-produced new Gundam was basically, what they were drawing up on what it was actually going to end up on the Gundam. They, of course, are omitting the Gatling gun and whatnot. But before I actually finish doing this, I want to go ahead and say, again, from the US Gundam store, it comes with this little sticker here, and then little inserts and Christian packages. Thanks, Christian. I wonder if you packaged this 2 years ago, finally got shipped out. I'm kidding. There's also a 4th of July sale here, so you know what? I'm showing this on camera, so screw it. Anyone who sees this video in time, first come, first served, I guess. Go ahead and use this code. I'm probably not going to use it. I got enough Gunpla. I'm trying not to, buy stuff. So hey, you know what? Whoever uses that code first, put it in the comments and let me know. I don't care. We have, I'm pretty sure this is the plastic stickers. They stopped doing this for some reason. I don't know why. I really like the plastic stickers. They're pretty cool. If I'm not mistaken, I think there's a little bit of extra detailing on this thing, which it's kind of hard to get this to focus. But if it is, I imagine it kind of shows a bit like the mechanical details of the eyes and stuff, which would be pretty cool. Because if you look at the Master Grade, whatchamacallit, super deformed stuff, one big benefit of those things having giant heads is the fact that it really allows them to put a lot of detail to like the red forehead jewel and like the mechanics in the eyes and whatnot, stuff you see when they did close-ups of the Gundams, all that like stuff like that. So that's one cool thing I'll admit about the MG SD stuff. I'm not much a fan of the SD stuff, so I'll probably never get those things. But while I'm still lingering on this one plate, I wanted to point out this beam saber. It's like the same color of like the cycle frame effect parts. That's actually pretty cool. I remember when the Master Grade Unicorn Cage version came out. It was like right around when the first episode that showed up. It had like a clear beam saber, and I thought it'd be pretty cool if it actually did have a clear beam saber in the show, like a white color or something like that. And then it went to destroy it, like it turned pink. As you know, it really kind of showed the transformation aspect. But speaking of transformations, one cool thing about the Narrative Gundam is this thing uses the cycle frame from the Unicorn. Let me see. This says 2023 in here, so I'm not sure which Unicorn came out in 2023 that they borrowed this frame from, because this thing came out 2024, so it couldn't be a brand new cycle frame. But nonetheless, if you have any extra unicorns, whether it's a Banshee, a full armor, what have you, you should be able to actually use those cycle frames with the narrative as well. So that's definitely something I'd be interested to do. See if I could get, like, let's say, a full armor unicorn, because that's the only unicorn I don't have at this point, and use the green cycle frame for this thing. That'd be pretty badass if we could do that. We have, of course, the shield here, all these insert parts, what have you. So very cool. Yeah, it's just funny too. I probably said it before when I reviewed the high grade version of the narrative, but I remember I ordered the narrative Gundam, and like a week later, I'm not even exaggerating, they announced the master grade, and I was so pissed because the only reason why I even got the I didn't care about the A packs. It was the C packs. I also ordered the high grade C packs. I would have ordered the high grade C packs had I known they would end up doing a master graded narrative. So I forgot what I did with the C packs. I think I might have colored it green or something like that to try to make it look different. I did something with that thing to make it not feel like an inferior version of this master grade. But anyway, going ahead here, looking at the manual itself, I just love the way these menus for the Veracross look. It just looks like, you know, you're like a mechanic or whatever, or engineer, I guess you'd say, looking at the blueprints on how to build this thing. And then we have like a bit of a prototype version of them building this thing. And again, I just talked about the fact that they verified whether they could attach the cycle frame to the body here. So this is like a prototype version of it, basically. And after they said, okay, it works, that's when, of course, they finished the whole job. So very cool that they did that. That was one of the coolest gimmicks about this thing. The fact that it could share cycle frames with the unicorn, because in lore, that's what happened. After the events of Unicorn, they took the cycle frame off of the unicorns, and then they used it, or at least I'm gonna assume the actual unicorn cycle frame for the narrative. I don't know what they would have done with the Banshees, but yeah, I don't really know what to say here. We of course have the interview with Hajime Katoki over here. So hopefully I've had this on the screen long and clear enough for you guys to be able to kind of look at that and read it if you would choose to. You of course have the construction of this thing. This thing has a very clean construction. I've never seen a menu that looks like this. It looks, again, so cool. It looks like, again, like you're just looking at like a email document or something like that. Like this looks like something like a computer screen, the way this thing is laid out and whatnot. Okay, that's cool. And like I said, they're showing the cycle frame here and telling you, you know, you can store that here and whatnot. So very cool. This is one unassembled. So they do not recommend you take your unicorn apart to put a cycle frame onto this thing. I'm guessing there's a little bit more to... Oh, actually, hold on. Before I finish this, I noticed something. Strangely, there are some X's. Okay, I know. That's probably some of the cycle frame you don't end up using for the narrative then. I'm not sure what's going on with the gray parts. I guess that's because some of these gray parts here, I glossed over that when I were looking at the parts, but there's going to be some B parts here that it's like basically a gray painted version of the cycle frame, because you could do a version of this thing that doesn't have the cycle frame on. So depending on how tedious it is to take them on and off, I am tempted to do one without the cycle frame. I don't know, because I do have my Apex, which is basically what not putting a cycle frame is. So it would be pretty cool to look at both of those next to each other, but I don't know. We'll see. If it's easy enough to take the cycle frame on and off, I of course will show that off, but otherwise we'll probably just be looking at the cycle frame for the narrative, or rather the CPAX version. So look at this thing. This thing definitely has a very interesting construction process to it. Definitely can't wait to go ahead and build this thing and see what the process is like for this. But with this thing being basically just like a Gundam with exposed inner frame, I definitely imagine the inner frame of this thing is gonna be pretty well detailed. Not as detailed as it'd be if there's like if this was say like a master grade extreme, as I imagine they'd probably put some silver pieces into it or whatnot too. But again, this thing definitely looks pretty cool. I'm looking at this here. I don't like there's much foot movement here in the construction, so I imagine this thing's gonna be basically flat-footed. We'll find out for sure when I actually build this thing, because sometimes the construction doesn't quite lay out the articulation, so we shall see. But of course, the Nerve Gundam is similar to the Unicorn in that it has pretty long legs, so the leg construction went over about a couple pages and a half or so. The waist looks like it's pretty complicated as well. This thing is 2 pages. Usually the waist is like a half a page, so there's gonna be a lot of detail into that. Oh, this is a cool thing. I'm not sure if they do this in a lot of newer stuff. I know they do this on all the Vercos for sure, where once you're done with a runner, they tell you to get rid of it. So that's a good time to kind of double check it and make sure you didn't forget something. Is maybe you might be able to go back and put that part in or whatever before you get rid of it, or worse, it's kind of too late to correct your error or whatever. But we of course have the in here transforming into the C packs. So I'm gonna assume they might tell you that you can take off some stuff and put the cycle frame on here. We'll see. I'm trying to think. Did they already show you how to? I don't know. Yeah, maybe you can switch and swap stuff on the fly. Then yeah, because it just showed you taking the arms off or whatnot. Oh, so then you must be able to just put a lot of cycle frame over the inner frame. That is pretty cool if that's the case then, because you'll be able to, whenever you want, put the cycle frame on this thing, sort of like with the Alex. Here you can put the Chobutum armor on it. So that's actually very cool. That appears, yeah, it definitely looks like they did that, because you can see where you could stretch the armor pieces off and plug in those extra cycle frame parts and whatnot. So that's actually very cool. I really like that they did that. I do see a bit of toe movement, so hold on. Yeah, and there's a gimmick to let you put it down. I'd prefer one that made it go in the opposite direction, but again, that is pretty cool that they have you able to do that with, I'll say, most of the cycle frame, because they already kind of went over that there appears to be some cycle frame you don't use. But that's actually definitely pretty cool. It's just funny looking at this. I've built the Unicorn so many times. I've recognized these cycle frame pieces. It's almost making my eye twitch, because I'm just like getting PTSD from building that dang Unicorn so many times. As soon as I just look at a fraction of this cycle frame, I'm just thinking of all the trauma it's put me through building it. And this is actually pretty cool. This is for the Apex. Yeah, you'd be able to put the beam sabers on the back of it there. So if you want to do an Apex version, that's where the beam sabers be held at. If I'm not mistaken, yeah, the Apex has a backpack. It's just like, it's kind of like a unicorn form version of the, well, Unicorn Gundam, where it's like the backpack's folded up, whereas with the Destroy, you know, it's in a standard Gundam situation where you have the beam sabers on the back. So it's actually pretty cool that they did that. I'm not gonna lie, kind of zoned out while construction stands, so I'm not sure if they showed the backpack transforming during this whole phase of you put a cycle frame on and whatnot. But we of course have the color and sticker guys here, which are water slots. So yeah, good luck getting me to do that. This is something I do when I finally get through my backlog and I'm bored, and I start putting water slide decals on. Otherwise, I'm not putting a single one on unless it's something like the High New, where you sort of need to put the decals on to complete the kit. But that, of course, is going to do it here. Thank you guys so much for putting up with me yapping for probably was about like 10 minutes about how upset I was about the whole process of getting this I don't want to say stupid thing, but you know, Yeah. Just the fact that I don't finally get this thing until just yesterday's news is a little frustrating. I'm sitting there trying to think, is there even another Furcock kit that was announced after this thing? Oh, that's right. The newest one was the full armor double Zeta gun. Well, just one thing that definitely, I'm a little disappointed with a lot of the Furcocks that's been coming out lately, because it's like a lot of it has been rehashes of stuff. This was like, I think, the last original one we've got, because the freaking full armor double Zeta they announced it like the end of 2025. It came out the beginning of 2026. Like, I feel like we almost got robbed out of a Verka, and their excuse is because they did 2 this year. With the freaking Stein doesn't even count. That was like a freaking rehash. Like, it used so many parts from other Senanjus. Like, ugh. But let me stop yapping here. I've kept you guys long enough. Thank you guys all so much for watching. And if you enjoyed this, you know what to do. And stay tuned for the next unboxing and review.